Hello and welcome back, and I'm actually on the hunt. I'm looking for some bluebells, and I'm looking for them in the native woodland here, and I'm hoping the woodland behind me will have some. They should be out now. This is prime bluebell season, and as you will see as you go through this video, that there is a little bit more to the bluebell than you actually first think. So join me along this little bluebell expedition, and we'll walk, talk, and we'll see what we can find and discuss along the way. So behind me I have some Spanish bluebells, and I'm going to show you the difference between them and these here that I'm looking at now. There is about 3 or 4 different varieties in colours, not your traditional kind of sort of like dark fluorescent blue, but yeah, these are good examples of the Spanish bluebell. So here we are. If we move in closer, you can see these ones here have very short trumpets. It is the traditional colour that we think of for bluebells, but the actual flowers are coming from all over the actual stem, not just in one direction. And like I said, the actual trumpet is a lot shorter. You'll also find, if you find the leaves somewhere down here, here's some of the leaves. The leaves are a lot broader and thicker. They're a lot wider. If I pull this one up without damaging it, there, you can see it's a really broad, wide leaf. It also comes in a variety of different colours. This one's kind of like a pink colour. And we also have white. And as you can see, smaller trumpets, and the actual flowers come from all over the stem in every direction. So in amongst these stinging nettles, we've got a small little clump of lilac coloured ones. Yet again, the Spanish variety of bluebell, but the colour range is quite fantastic in this small little area. And we've got the traditional blue ones down there. Here we have some pink going into lilac, and right beside them the bluey colour, although on film it does tend to come out slightly more purple. So I'm going to just walk up this hedgerow, and on the opposite side, 100 metres further up the road, there is a clump of English bluebells, the traditional ones that we will normally see in the woods and the hedgerows this time of year, and I'll show you them and you can see the marked or the exaggerated difference, and it's quite easy to deduce what the English and the Spanish are. Right, I'm just walking up this lane, and I'm coming to a clump, a nice sized little clump of bluebells, and these are English ones. How do I know they're English ones? Well, let's delve straight into it, and I'm going to be careful with my footing. Straight away you can see they go up and they kind of droop over, and all those flowers literally hang in one direction, as you can see here. You won't have flowers popping here, there and everywhere all over. They are in actually just one direction, and the head tends to droop over. And let me try and find some of the leaves, and that's going to be a job because I don't want to sting myself. So the actual English bluebell is under threat by the Spanish one due to the fact it's a more prolific grower, outcompetes it, and it's cross-pollinating and hybrid, making hybrid species from it, and in all respects it's literally beginning to take over from it. But they're still here, and they're still got some strongholds. I'm in perfect English bluebell country at the moment, and it's a quiet country lane. It's not got direct sunlight, it's got native trees around it, flora, and what's actually happening with it, it's not getting full direct hit from the sun, it's getting dappled sunlight, which is what it seems to prefer, and it doesn't seem to like it too dry. But yeah, there's a nice little patch of English ones here, and we'll take a little look at them. So here we go. Here they are. A nice little clump of English bluebells. And they're in a hedgerow. And as you can see, they've taken over pretty much all the prominent spots where the sun is just getting through the canopy of leaves. And as we've discussed, you can easily identify it as English one. Long narrow trumpets on the flowers, and all the flowers hanging off in one direction, having a slightly curved stem or stalk. Looking absolutely beautiful against the green of all the other plants in the hedgerow. But I suppose really we associate bluebells with woodlands. Now, the best woodlands to find them are kind of like deciduous, and they do like it, like I said, if there's not too much direct sunlight. Now, they're a slow growing plant, as in with its reproductive cycle. I did actually read it was 5 years from seed to like kind of like a bulb or tuber to plant, and that obviously makes it quite a, you know, inherently difficult plant to sort of like, once you lose it or damage it, to repopulate areas. So you don't really want to be trampling around too much or disturbing the ground where you know there are actual you know, beds of these actual plants in existence. But yeah, woodlands, they definitely do like our native woodlands. And this is another thing. If a woodland has been left alone, particularly ones that are used for sporting purposes, you will find that there is vast beds of these plants that will come out in bloom, this gorgeous blue colour. Woodlands which are heavily frequented by dog walkers and, you know, people out for a walk, will still get them, and in large quantities. But due to the traffic going over the ground, it can disturb the actual you know, stock of plants in the ground, and in some cases destroy, you know, quantities of them. So the less travelled woodlands or less travelled paths will be your best bet to see what it used to look like when the whole forest was a sea of blue. And this is a point in question. Just looking down this hedgerow here, it's a very quiet country lane, and all these English bluebells are absolutely loving the conditions they've got here, and they're throwing out a marvelous display of colour. It really does make you feel summer is around the corner. I think it's a young one that's either learning to fly, just come out of the nest, or it's actually fallen out of the nest. Either way, I'm not going to interfere. It's nature in process. But yeah, he did kind of dart across the road in front of me, flapping his wings, so he has some ability to fly. Hopefully he's en route to leaving the nest. Out of interest, I've just stumbled across a holly tree that's got berries on it, and they're all left over from the previous winter, but I can't imagine that because they're so low to the ground. You would have thought something would have eaten them, but yeah, and to figure that they're producing berries now, it doesn't sit right. But hey, I'll let you have a look, make up your own mind. Well, there you go. Holly tree with red berries this time of the year. They've either escaped the hungry animals or birds, or quite simply something a little bit weird is afoot here. Well, this woodland has not disappointed. I came here about 2 weeks ago, I guess, and there was perhaps the odd one or two. It's now a carpet, a sea of bluebells, and as they roll down over the contours of the hill, it just looks like a wave of blue colour. It's absolutely gorgeous and stunning, and yeah, it was worth a little walk in. But this is what a quiet, out of the way native woodland looks like when the bluebells are out. Well, fortunately for me, I haven't been able to spot one Spanish bluebell variety. These are all English so far as I can make out in here. From me just having a casual observation, I dare say if somebody was to do a more in-depth study or look around, they would probably find some have infiltrated this little woodland. But so far at the minute, the English ones are still, or native ones, or British ones are still prevailing, and you know, they're still holding fast here, which is a good sign. So the bluebell goes by several different names, many different names, and they can change locally or, you know, regionally. But the cuckoo's boot, the witch's thimble, lady's nightcap, and the fairy flower, they're but a few. Bluebells have a lot of folklore surrounding them, and a fair bit of it, if you look into it, is quite dark. But I'll just give you some brief insights into the folklore surrounding bluebells. Well, if you're in a woodland or forest like this, quite often it's said that the bluebells represent like dark fairy magic, and you know, they kind of use the carpet of bluebells for like mysterious and mischievous ends, and quite often to trap or disorientate a individual within the woodlands. Now, if you're in a woodland with bluebells and you actually hear bluebells ringing, it's not really a good sign for you, because a bad fairy will visit you and you will die shortly after. Should you pick any of these lovely bluebells, that's not really a good idea according to folklore, because, and there you go, thunder and lightning. Perhaps I've upset the fairies. But if you actually are in the woods and you start to actually, you know, pick them, you are actually asking for trouble, because you also will find yourself wandering and lost forever in this woodland. Well, if you think somebody's lying and you really want to know the truth, take them into a woodland with bluebells, make a wreath and put it around their neck, and if this wreath is made solely and wholly of bluebells, they will not be able to speak any untruths. You can only speak the truth if you have this wreath of bluebells around your neck. And if you find yourself in a difficult situation regarding love and the opposite sexes, if you can actually turn a bluebell inside out without splitting it, breaking it or damaging it, you will find that the one you love will be yours. And if you suffer nightmares and you know, you're kept awake by nightmares, apparently, as the saying goes, if you pick some bluebells and put them beside your bed, you won't suffer nightmares or any bad dreams again. Now the bluebell is, you know, a toxic plant, you know, so there's very little uses for it. Although the sap was used because they could produce a sticky glue from it to actually bind feathers and arrowheads to the shafts. So it had that particular use. And, you know, later on in history, thunder and lightning again. I could actually be upsetting the Cornish little folk in here, I think. But anyway, if you know, were to use it other than for the glue to stick the feathers and arrowheads on, it was actually used to actually produce a kind of starch so that clothes could be starched stiff and straight and iron out to nice creases. But as for medical uses and human consumption, it is toxic. So just to rehash that point, the bluebell is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful, stunning plant this time of year. And it's iconic to the British woodlands. And, you know, I dare say many of us have spent, you know, hours as children running through these glades full of bluebells. Although that's not strictly encouraged these days because they're a delicate plant and, you know, damaging them can result in the loss of their habitat, you know, by just literally continually running through, you know, swathes of these plants. So kind of stick to the paths and stick to one route in and out so you're not trampling and damaging, you know, vast tracts of these beautiful plants. But, you know, getting back to the point I was going to mention, it's extremely toxic. Do not do anything for human consumption or use, you know, in any way, shape or form. Just leave them where they are. Okay, yeah, I'm going to head on out of here. This thunder and lightning, there again, I definitely feel that I've invoked some fairy wrath on me, so I'm going to get out of here while I can. Well, thanks for coming along on this little ramble to find or hunt down the elusive English bluebell. They're not quite so elusive. They're still in abundance. You may have to look for them. You may have to look a little bit closer to identify that you are looking at the English bluebell. But I'm sure you will find some if you go out and have a look. There isn't a lot of time left for them. They are getting to the point there, most of them are out in bloom. There might be a few isolated pockets which may have a bit longer left as they haven't come out yet. But yeah, get out there, have a little look, see what you can see and enjoy it for this time of year and for what it's worth. So I'm going to conclude this video. This is Andy, and take care, stay safe, and I hope to catch you guys out on the trail.